North Dakota first.
A visit to Theodore Roosevelt National Park often includes a bison sighting. After being introduced in the park in the 1950s in the South Unit, then the 60s in the North Unit, there are hundreds of the animals roaming there. But there's concern that over the long term, a lack of genetic diversity could threaten the herds. Jim Olson reports on research designed to head off that very threat.
120 years ago, the bison was nearly extinct in North America, but that's all changed.
Over time, we've grown to about 10,000 animals.
Dr. Blake McCann is part of an effort to make sure that success story doesn't reverse course. He's a key player in research to find out how to make sure herds of bison managed by the Department of Interior and National Parks don't stay isolated, genetically speaking.
We're going to have a problem eventually. And is it in 50 years? Is it 100 years? We don't know exactly.
That's why when you drive through the North Unit of Theodore Roosevelt National Park these days, you may catch a glimpse of a bison with a colored ear tag. A green tag is one of 10 local bison fitted with GPS collars, while orange tags were placed on a dozen female bison introduced into the herd from Badlands National Park in South Dakota.
If you look closely, you can see if they're a resident or if they are instead one of the animals that's been brought in from Badlands. And it's a little bit interesting. Sometimes you'll see them standing together. And that's the nature of the data that we're collecting right now, is what are their social interactions.
The idea is to find out if the newly located bison mix in with the existing herd or if they stay together in sort of a sub-herd. It's important to find out because it plays a role in figuring the best way to introduce new genetic features into herds that are geographically separate from other animals on the continent.
We're not just managing these herds in isolation, but we're working together for better stewardship of the species to maintain them in optimal health.
And that will ensure that future generations of humans will share the land with future generations of healthy bison. At Theodore Roosevelt National Park, Jim Olson, KX News.
The introduction of bison from South Dakota is a 2-year project to see how the new animals integrate into the local herd. It's scheduled to end in the fall of 2019.